Howdy, Fort Bend. William Ferguson here from the beautiful Seth once again for your knowledge. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. I've got one of my personal special guests. Everybody asks how they end up on my show. Well, in this case, it's respect and history and personal relationship. Today, we have the one and only Marshall Slott. Marshall, good morning.
Good morning, William. How are you, sir?
Yeah, well, I'm doing good. I hope this shirt's not too loud for you.
It works for you.
Yeah,
it works
well,
for you.
It does work for me. My wife hates Paisley, so I went ahead and got this one with Paisley.
You're a bold man.
Yeah,
bold
I'm
man
bold today. Normally I'm in a jacket, but I wanted to display myself in all my rooster beauty.
Well, maybe my wife can get a call from your wife, and they can talk through that her response to it.
Whatever. Hey, Marshall, thanks for being here. Thanks for your concern, your excitement for the county. Marshall is currently running as a candidate for the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Department. He wants to be our sheriff. And I'm kind of excited to hear from all these candidates. I love to hear, what's on your mind. But what I want to ask you first, okay? And I've known you for a while, but I don't know the answer to this question. What I want to ask you first is I want you to go deep. I want you to skip all the silly surface political answers. I'm taller, I'm shorter, I'm faster. Skip all that. And tell us, tell whoever, tell us really and truly the deepest reason why you want to be the top dog sheriff police in the county. Tell me why.
William, thank you for that. Thank you for today. Thank you for allowing me to sit in your platform here. This is awesome. Why do I want to be sheriff? I want to be sheriff to use my expertise in law enforcement to be a servant leader in our community and to empower our deputies, our civilian employees, to be the servants to our community. Wow. That is what is absolutely missing from the sheriff's office right now. Law enforcement, we serve and protect. I think we've got the protect part down, but I think we forget the service part, and I want to put the focus back on being servants to our community. We exist to serve our community, not lord over our community, not be the oppressor. We exist to make a pathway for our businesses, our churches, our schools, for you to raise your family. We need that environment back in Fort Bend County. Fort Bend County is my home. Third generation Fort Bend County resident. My mom was raised here. My grandfather was a banker here in the 50s. My mom and dad worked in law enforcement here in the 70s and 80s. I've worked in law enforcement here for the last 24 years. Fort Bend County is my home. I'm a Christian, a husband, a father, and a grandfather. And now I'm helping raise my grandkids here. I want to make this a safe community for my grandkids.
Wow.
And their generation.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting all that. That was good stuff. So, you said something about being safe. I still believe, I've always believed that there are three things that every single person, I don't care who you are, where you're from, your religion, your culture, none of it matters. I believe that there are three things that every single person wants, and that is they want to be safe, and you hit that first. They want to be respected, and they want opportunities. I don't care who you are. You want fair opportunities. You want to be respected, but you hit on safe, and I believe safe is necessary to say and understand from the very beginning. Okay, so I'll get into my questions. My questions, I think, are pretty simple. My format is usually 3 or 4 questions, and then we get out of here to where you're not bothered all day. But question number 1 is, why Marshall? Why Marshall Slott?
So I think first let's talk about Marshall, me as a person.
Sure.
I've never referred to myself as a third person.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Let's talk about me as a person. First of all, like I said, third generation Fort Bend County resident. I was born and raised in Sugar Land, Texas. Right. I graduated from Clements High School in 1989.
Wow.
My roots are deep here in Fort Bend County, and I want to be a servant of this county. My home. This is my home.
Love it.
I think I will bring to the office the experience, both business and law enforcement,
right,
and then service in the community. I've been volunteer in a number of organizations throughout our community. So I think that culmination of being a servant in the community, being a longtime resident in this community, and using my expertise in law enforcement, not only in the practical applications, but also the relationship building portion of law enforcement with the community and with surrounding law enforcement agencies. I think that those 3 points really fill the triangle that makes me the one now at this time to lead our county to being safer and to being our law enforcement agency, our sheriff's office, to be the premier sheriff's office in the state of Texas.
Wow. And by the way, you know, the hardest part of interviews like this is my role is to shut up and listen to you. And right now I have about 1,000 thoughts on what you just said, and I can't share them because I would violate my role. But I do like the concept or the idea of a hometown man being the top law enforcement. I like that. I like the way you just described your history. I'm not supposed to say all that, but I did it anyhow. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah, question number 2 is simply why now? Like, why not do this in 4 years? Why not do this in 8 years? Why not, but why 2024?
So in 2023, I eclipsed 30 years of service in law enforcement. So that was a benchmark for me. It doesn't make me any outstanding guy because there are plenty of law enforcement officers who served our community and others for 30 years. That was a benchmark for me.
Wow.
I've served 16 years in corporate security, or 15 years in corporate security for Chevron. And the culmination of all of this coming together right now, we've raised, my wife and I, my beautiful wife, Cheryl, we homeschooled our kids. We've raised them. Now they're having grandbabies and getting married.
Wow.
So we're not empty nesters, but we are through raising our kids, and now we're friends with our kids.
Sure.
And helping to mentor them through life. My professional career has just pointed all to this time. This is the right time.
Right.
We've had some great sheriffs in the past who've done a great job. Respectfully to Sheriff Fagan, he's failed in his role to lead this organization. I worked under Sheriff Fagan, I worked under Sheriff Nels, and I worked alongside Sheriff Wright when I led a task force here in Fort Bend County. It is just the right time. It is just the right time. I don't know how else to explain that more simply.
So those that watch and know me, they know this. So this year will be my 32nd year of, I was sworn in 92.
Same here,
And
same here.
and I worked under Troy Nels at the Sheriff's Department as a reserve. And I was there when the current sheriff took, and I got to tell you in response, again, this is not an endorsement of you or anyone, but in response, I was frustrated more with his administration than anything else. And I don't want to get into that, but I think I know how you feel a little bit, and I'll shut up. Hey,
Will you allow me to get into that for a second?
yeah, if you want to, sure.
So absolutely. So when Sheriff Fagan was elected, I stayed there. You and I were serving
Yeah.
right alongside one another. I stayed there in hopes of, let's give this man a fair shake and his command staff. When it takes 6 months to shape your command staff, you're a rudderless ship as an organization, and,
Wow.
and that's what happened. And then there's been turmoil within his command
Yeah.
staff over the years. I really wanted to give him an opportunity. Loving Fort Bend County like I do, I want our sheriff's office to keep us safe and serve well.
Right,
So I stayed there doing my part to help that.
right.
And it became very evident through his tenure in my 2.5 years serving under him that it was not going to get there. And
Right.
somebody needed to step up and have the courage and boldness to say, this is broken, and here's how you fix it.
Right, right. Well, and you know, good follow up. I was offended wearing the brown uniform that I had for so long by some of the comments that were made when I was still wearing it, and it was more than I could take because I love Fort Bend so much, and I'm not going to be demeaned while I stand on the right side of something, and I couldn't stay any longer. And
No.
anyhow, I'm sorry I digress on that. I apologize. Now, hey, isn't it funny? Now you got two police officers talking to each other. There could be trouble around the corner. Okay, so third question is, and I don't think I'm going to let you answer this because I thought I knew the answer, but I think I'm probably wrong also. So what are your solutions? So maybe pick your top two. Your top two concerns for the Sheriff's Department, and what are your solutions to those?
So I have three, and I'll bullet
Three's
point.
fine.
I'll bullet point them, but then I'll come back to them. So when we started this thing, we looked at recruit the best, retain the best, and train the best, and retain the best.
Okay.
As I progressed through this campaign, the number one factor is to retain the best. We have some outstanding professionals at the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, and what we've seen over Sheriff Fagan's tenure is him running people off. Tenured, expert law enforcement professionals not only tenured in law enforcement, but tenured at the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office, and he is causing people to leave in droves.
Well, we're happy to take them in Sugar Land, right?
I understand that, but I'm
ahead.
gonna put Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office back on the map and
We're
compete
happy
with Sugar
to take
Land.
your best. Come on.
So retaining. So it used to be recruit the best, train the
Right.
best, and retain. I flipped that a little
Yeah.
bit because right now that leak in the boat has to be
Yeah.
plugged.
Yeah, I get
We
it.
have to plug that leak and keep the great people that we
Sure.
have there because they are the foundation for the future.
I like that.
So recruiting the best, retaining the best, and training the best. So the second one is about recruiting. Law enforcement, just like the military, is suffering this downturn in the ability to recruit.
Sure.
I want to install servant leadership at the sheriff's office by installing and promoting people from within to the command staff level, basically wiping the slate clean and starting anew with the mantra of we exist to serve the community and the leadership of the sheriff's office all the way down to the line personnel. We exist to be leaders in the community. So installing that servant leadership model is important to me.
Yeah.
It comes down to this summation, this very succinct statement. I want to fix the inside so we can better serve the outside.
Wow.
That may not resonate specifically with every resident. So what does serving the outside mean? It means decrease in response time. It means you seeing more deputies on the street, more proactively patrolling, working from the broken windows theory. If we can address the small crime, we prevent the bigger crimes. We have many great citizens in this county. Only a small portion of them are criminals and decide to do bad acts.
Sure.
If we can push those bad actors out of Fort Bend County or make it to where they see it's not profitable for their lives to commit crimes in Fort Bend County because they know they're going to get caught and they're going to get put in jail, and through relationships, we're going to work with the district attorney's office to prosecute them, that crime is prevented, which is the ultimate goal of keeping our community safe.
Right. Wow, I like all that. And you know what? I knew one of those points, but I didn't know all three. So
Well, there you go.
Good work. Yeah. Hey, so I've got to pass the same compliment on to the deputies. I've known a lot of them in my time in law enforcement, and I got to tell you, some of my favorite law enforcement officers have been Fort Bend deputies. One or two, to all my DPS troopers out there, one or two of you has been my favorite. But I got to tell you, that brown uniform has always been my fave. And I know that sounds corny, and people that have never wore the uniform, they're like, why would you like the brown? And I think it was because it was so exceptionally different.
Yep.
And also, it was performance-wise, it was different. All the trouble in law enforcement wasn't coming from Fort Bend. It was coming from Harris County. And so I've not enjoyed the takeover of Harris County and Fort Bend. I probably shouldn't have said that either. So forget I just said that. You didn't hear that. I just said it.
You just may I respond because it's
Of course, I messed up. I shouldn't have said that.
It is a sticking point. So my father wore the dark brown over tan, and wore the same badge, not the exact same badge, but the same badge style.
Right.
So it was really it was such satisfaction for me to serve in the same uniform that my father served through. So that was amazing. But this taking of Harris County's mindset, this Houston PD mindset, this HPD square peg, and trying to shove it into a Fort Bend County SO round hole, and then not having the humility to recognize that it's not working and just keep pounding on it. It is what has broken the core of the sheriff's office. That bright, shiny apple that is being shown to the community. Oh, we're great. We're doing great things. Well, when you've worked on the inside of that and you know the heart and have the relationships within the sheriff's office, you see that the core of that apple is rotting. We've got to fix that.
Wow.
I can't fix it by myself, but I can damn sure put in the servant leaders to fix it throughout the agency, and then push that all the way down, and even down to the citizens. Every citizen should be a leader where they are, and that's important. We need to partner with the community as servants to our neighbors, our friends, our churches, the lost. It's all about that community, and we can all be servants where we are, no matter what we're doing. It's not just the sheriff's job to be a leader. It is every deputy and civilian employee's job to be the leader. And then when the community sees that, I think they'll recognize that and become leaders where they are in their neighborhoods, in their civic organizations, in their churches, in their houses of worship, whatever faith you follow.
Okay, so you're the second person I'm going to do this to.
Uh-oh, that kind of scares me.
No, this is good. we're in 2 weeks or so. I want you to come back without that, without your advertisement, and I want to talk police. I
Yeah.
want to talk police stories. I want
Yeah.
to talk police fun. You just made me think. There are so many stories that we could share now because it's all behind us that we could share now that I think people would really enjoy. And we're not allowed to talk about administrations, how that we're going to have a fun podcast talking about police stories locally.
I love it.
I think because I got some that came in my mind while you were talking. All right, so here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to flip the camera, and I'm going to have you look straight at the voter or potential voter, and because hold on, let me check my watch. The 20th, early voting begins.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I can hear it. So I want you to look at the camera, and I want you to tell your supporters or those that don't really know you but they're interested how they can help you with your campaign. Again, not an endorsement. It's an opportunity for you to simply, hey, here's what I need. And it may be prayer, it may be money, it may be volunteers, it may be whatever it is you need. You're going to look into that little red circle there, and you're going to tell them what you need.
Gotcha. Outstanding. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, sure.
Will. So first and foremost, this all starts on the foundation of my Christianity. I am a sinner in need of a risen Savior every single day. So let's start there. Pray. If you're a praying person, please pray. Pray for wisdom, energy, strength, and boldness, and last, humility. And humility is where I should have said that first. Those are the things I'm asking for you to pray for. I would appreciate volunteers who are willing to work the polls for me and help people understand, give them that last-minute view of to who Marshall Slott is and put that name first and foremost. I'm number one on the ballot, which should make it pretty easy on the Republican ticket. So poll workers. If you're willing to, campaigning, and this is the hardest part of campaigning, is to ask for people to invest in the campaign. We've been very judicious and efficient with the use of the funds that we have raised. I invested a significant amount of money, and I don't know what a significant amount of money is to you, but I invested $30,000 of our own money in this campaign, and we've been fortunate by God's good graces to raise more money than that, and I love it because we are going to be able to do everything we wanted to do, everything we set out in our campaign plan. We are going to run it down to zero, but it is zero. God provides, and it has been amazing. So those of you that have given to our campaign and invested in me as your candidate, thank you. Those of you who are still out there who are undecided, again, pray first. I need workers for the polls. If you're willing to invest, and my last request is the simplest of all, but actually probably takes the biggest commitment, is research candidates, all of us, and make sure that you get to the polls to vote. You need to vote your values. Vote your values. Vote which candidate you think has the best qualifications, the best level of experience, the best relationships in Fort Bend County law enforcement, which I humbly and respectfully say is me. My other two candidates, they're fine gentlemen. Some of the campaigning has gotten a little goofy. I've taken the high road. I've been hit a couple times with some false information, but I've taken the high road. I've chosen not to respond directly. This is my one response to that, is saying and encouraging everybody, take the high road and pray for the lost. But those are the four things I'm asking for. Again, I'm asking for your vote as humbly and as respectfully as I can. February 20th through March 1st is early voting. You can vote at any polling location in Fort Bend County. And then Election Day is March 5th. And with God's good graces, we'll get to this thing with me on the top of with me being the Republican nominee for sheriff in Fort Bend County on the 2024 ballot.
Wow. Well, look at that. All right. So I have a little message for the voter also.
Outstanding.
So you have to sit through this 20-second. Ready? Okay, guys. I've told you time and time again, as other candidates sit here, committing to I'm going to vote and then not voting doesn't help anyone. I challenge you to not only educate yourself to vote, and to vote. I also challenge you to commit dollars. There is something to be said about investing in a mission or a vision that you believe in. And as you see these candidates come through, it's important that you invest, not just, and your vote is priceless, okay? But to invest your time in education, time in talking to your neighbors and your friends. Time is great, but invest $5 or more, any amount. because then you're invested in a mission. And I'm telling you, the return will be great if you will get involved. So whether it's for Marshall or any candidate, they are putting their lives on hold, looking for an opportunity to steer a ship in a new direction. And so I challenge you to invest your time and your money in these candidates. So God bless you. Thank you for being a part of that. Now, Marshall, I'm going to sign us off if you're ready.
Absolutely.
You ready? It's corny. I do it every time. But here we go. All right. You're not allowed to do it with your hat. Your hat is too cool. But here's what I have to say. Howdy, Fort Bend, and we will see you soon.